Jordez Video Game Reviews.
Mother, time to go.
Metroid gained its reputation as a AAA game back as a 2D platformer that championed discovery over linearity in its gameplay and spawned a subgenre known as Metroidvania. When it jumped into 3D, the series took a drastic shift and changed into an FPS with the Prime trilogy, which was then widely revered. Other M is taking Metroid back to its roots though and pays homage to the original games. The gameplay feels like a natural progression of a 2D platformer onto a 3D plane. Sometimes there are wide open spaces that you can explore, but mostly you'll be confined to narrow walkways which emphasize the 2D heritage of other M. Whilst most of the game is played in a third-person perspective, you can switch into first person at any time by pointing your Wiimote at the TV. This enables you to precisely aim at enemies and is necessary in most boss battles. Unfortunately, whilst in first person, you are unable to move, and since most of the time you have to use it is during battles, it quickly becomes irritating having to flick between first and third person. When you are in third person mode, Other M keeps up the Metroid tradition of run and gun gameplay, and a frenetic pace of platforming. There are sadly a few issues when you are in this mode though. First of all, shooting is done with an auto-aim feature, which when you can run down halls hammering the fire button, does take a lot of difficulty out of the game. The reason for the auto-aim though may be due in part to the static camera. Although it is a lot more linear than the other Metroid games, there is a fair bit of backtracking to be done in Other M, but the cameras are always in the same place, so you'll be firing at enemies off screen a lot of the time. The control scheme is extremely simple and the game is controlled entirely on the Wiimote, with the D-pad, 3 buttons and a few arbitrary motions found in nearly every Wii game. It's a simple layout which works extremely well in all parts but one, the D-pad. Having to navigate the 3D world with a D-pad feels clunky and imprecise. It was a risk and a major concession to get all the controls on just the Wiimote. It's not just the controls and gameplay where major risks have been taken though, as Team Ninja have tried to give Samus Aran not only a more in-depth backstory, but also a voice. This goes against everything Nintendo have done in creating her up until now. They were consciously ambiguous and let you create your own idea of Samus's personality. Now it has been laid out by Team Ninja that Samus is a woman fraught with father issues, who is subjugated by her superiors, and who has the most tediously monotonous voice imaginable. Almost certainly the opposite of what most people had seen her as. The story follows on exactly where Super Metroid left off, with the baby Metroid saving Samus from Mother Brain in a genuinely enthralling cutscene. Sadly, this is the highlight of the story, and it then proceeds to descend into an insipid, predictable and sloppily executed storyline. There is too much emphasis on clumsy and blatant symbolism, such as the bottle ship, which you are on, and the baby's cry signal which you respond to. Whilst it is important that Samus is a woman, Team Ninja's approach is so heavy-handed that you feel like you are being beaten to death with that fact. You are introduced to numerous new characters to the series that are part of your team, but so little exposition is given to them that you'll forget them as soon as they leave the screen. The handling of the story and characters can be summed up by a subplot involving a traitor that is thrust upon you out of nowhere, but then is never clearly resolved and the game just appears to forget about it. It's saddening to see the gameplay overshadowed by the storyline, as while I am an advocate for more storytelling in games, Other M bombards you with cutscenes every few minutes which do nothing but reiterate the most simple of plot points, all of which is narrated by the droning monotone of Samus. If you can manage to stomach the 2 hours of cutscenes which Other M misguidedly bursts, then there is a good, although rather short, game to be found. A decent homage to early Metroid games and a good fix of platforming. Thank you for watching my video review. You can check out the full written review at www.jordez.co.uk.